Welcome back. Now today I'm going to share a story with you guys, and this is the story of the first time and only time my mind was blown by new music. This incident of cerebral explosion took place a long time ago. It took place in October of 1992, and I can remember this day as if it was yesterday. This was such an important day in my life, and the memory is going to live here forever. It was just the best experience I've ever had musically. So, what was it that blew my mind? Megadeth were the headlining act at this show in Glasgow, Scotland back in '92. However, Megadeth did not blow my mind. My mind was blown by the opening act, some reasonably unknown band by the name of Pantera. Now, at this point in my life, I was a huge Megadeth, Metallica, Anthrax, Iron Maiden fan. You know, pretty much the old school stuff. So I was very excited to be going to see Megadeth. Saw them for the first time the previous year, and I loved that show. Incidentally, the opening act of that first Megadeth show was an extremely unknown band by the name of Alice in Chains. That's another story for another day. Skipping forward to 1992. I believe the tickets went on sale maybe March of that year, so the minute they went on sale, of course, I bought the ticket to see Megadeth. And back in those days, tickets were unique in that it was an actual ticket with the band logo, the date, the time, etc. But also on this ticket, it mentioned the opening act, a band called Pantera. It was Pantera, excuse me, that absolutely blew my mind. So before we get to the point where Pantera took the stage, I'm going to set the scene for you. So my friend and I, Gordon was his name back then, he and I got on this bus from Edinburgh, Scotland, the hour-long journey through to Glasgow, and we arrived at the Glasgow Barrowlands, which is a reasonably famous venue. I believe Anthrax just released a DVD for Kings for Scotland or something like that. That was filmed there. It's a pretty well-known venue in UK circles. So we arrive at the venue, and we're kind of milling around the merch area, and there's all these guys who are not wearing Megadeth shirts. They're wearing Pantera shirts. And my friend and I are thinking, wow, I guess this band is something. He's like, yeah, well, if they were any good, I would have heard of them. I'm like, yeah, you're probably right. So as we're standing eyeing the merch, this, weird looking guy who may have been the Cat walks past us holding this beat to shit Dean ML, and the guy standing next to us starts creaming himself. He goes, "Oh my god, that's Dimebag's guitar!" And me and my friend are like, "Who the fuck is Dimebag?" And my mind automatically goes to the thinking that, oh well, if that's the opening band's guitar, Dave Mustaine has a beautiful Jackson Flying V, so he wins. That was the thinking back then when we were kids. Anyway, maybe 20 minutes or so pass, milling around, looking at the merch. I think I bought a t-shirt, I don't recall. This was Countdown to Extinction. I don't remember. Anyway, so my friend and I head to the restroom, and we're taking a leak. They had these big troughs to pee into, and as we're peeing, there's an almighty rumble from upstairs, And the other guys who are relieving themselves, like, oh my god, shit, Pantera's on, ah! And they kind of end up peeing on themselves, and they run upstairs as fast as they can. So my friend and I finish the process of urination in a orderly fashion, and wash our hands, of course. So we say to each other, well, I guess we'll check this band out. So we make our way upstairs, and the noise just gets louder and louder. We open the doors to the main floor, and on stage are weird looking characters, you know. There's a bald guy, bare chested, with tattoos on his head and his stomach. There's the strangest looking guy you ever saw playing guitar, and he had a pink beard. There's a lanky looking guy playing bass, and we couldn't see the drummer. However, we walked into the song A New Level, and when that chorus hit, my mind was officially blown. This was the most amazing thing I'd ever heard in my life. Now, bearing in mind, I was all about Iron Maiden, Megadeth, Metallica, which for the most part was standard tuning and followed a very established way of doing things. When I heard that chorus to A New Level, I could not believe what I was hearing. This was the first time I'd really ever experienced a lower tuning. And just that riff itself, that is one of the greatest riffs of all time. Simple to play, but my God, is that riff effective. So I'm like, holy shit, this is good. So New Level comes to a conclusion. I look at my friend and I'm thinking, holy shit, this is kind of good, huh? He's like, whoa, his jaw was like on the floor. A second later, the opening riff to Walk kicks in. Oh my God, I never in my life imagined that you could bend one note and create such an amazing sound. So I'm standing there gobsmacked, because I'd always assumed to be successful in this music, you know, you had to play like Dave Mustaine or Adrian Smith. But here was a guy bending one note, one damn note, and it was the most soulful note I'd ever heard. This note, this one bent note, it just hit me in such a way that is, sadly, the effect that note had on me then, there are no notes left in the world, in the universe, that will have the same impact as that had on me. So I'm watching this guy with this weird pink beard, and I'm thinking, holy crap, this is the future. This is the greatest thing I've ever heard. And then the singer kicks in with his angry vocal. Although it wasn't, you know, the Cookie Monster, it was still clear. You could hear what was being said. But also what hit me was just the sheer force of the drums. You know, it wasn't a complex drum pattern to play, but the sound that they had, the kick really hit you in the stomach, and the snare with that reverb, it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. So we're standing there, and again our jaws are touching the floor, and maybe 25% of the crowd that was in the hall were going absolutely wild. They knew these songs, they were singing along, they were moshing, they were crowd surfing. I'd never seen a response to a band like that up until that point. So I had to go back and use our good friends at Setlist FM to see what was played, because I haven't actually, this is the first time in 20 26 years that I actually thought, I wonder what songs they played that night. So I got the thing from Setlist FM. So they opened with A New Level, as I said, straight into Walk. Next up was Mouth for War, then Domination with the Hollow outro, This Love, Bucking Hostile, Primal Concrete Sledge, and then Cowboys from Hell. So, you know, watching all these songs, listening, taking it in, just feeling the moment was, I can say with absolute certainty, this was the most incredible musical moment I've ever had. So anyway, as the set draws to a close, they start playing Cowboys from Hell. And I just remember Dimebag having his guitar just plastered with the six-pack cases, you know, the cardboard from Coors Light. And, you know, back in the UK back then, Coors Light wasn't sold. You know, it's now become, actually, just to quickly go off topic, I was back in Scotland last year, and believe it or not, in Scotland, Coors Light is considered an expensive import beer. So all the trendy, fancy people are ordering Coors Light because it's an import. Anyway, back on topic. So after Pantera finished their set and the roadies come on and, you know, break everything down, I'm thinking to myself, how can Megadeth top that? You know, Megadeth, one of my favourite bands, but I've just seen the most amazing thing ever. So anyway, Megadeth came on, they did their thing, and I was really into it. You know, I was young back then, I thoroughly enjoyed it. But so we finished the concert, got the bus back to Edinburgh, then got home. And I said to my friend, I says, we got to buy some of this Pantera stuff. So the following day, we take the bus back into Edinburgh and head to the local record store. Still had them back then. And I was looking in the metal section, obviously, and I found A Vulgar Display of Power on CD. I'm like, okay, I'm having this. So paid for it, ran to the bus, got the bus back home, and got home and stuck the CD on. And it actually sounded better on CD because of the production, obviously. Opening song, Mouth for War. I'm like, holy crap, this is it. This is the best thing there is out there. And of course, New Level, Walk, Fucking Hostile, This Love, so on and so on. Since that day, back in '92, nothing has had the same impact. Nothing. Nothing has come close to having the impact that that one night in Glasgow had. And I don't see where the next mind explosion is going to come from, because to me, that set the standard. Since then, you know, we're talking like some 26 years ago. Sure, there's heavier, there's faster, there's louder, everything has evolved since then, but to me, A Vulgar Display of Power and the shows they were doing back then, that set the standard. Now, the funny thing was, they opened for Megadeth October of '92. Pantera actually came back in February of '93 as the headlining act, and they actually sold more tickets than Megadeth. So that was a great show also. Although, you know, like I said, the first time seeing Pantera was the official status of blown mind. The second time, equally as enjoyable, but going in there with the preconceived notion of knowing what was coming wasn't quite as good. So, you know, in the years that followed, I was fortunate enough to meet Dimebag Darrell on a few occasions, and it's been said before, but the nicest guy you could ever possibly meet. I'm going to show some of the memorabilia that he signed for me, and the guitar picks he gave me. Also met Rex Brown, another really cool guy, and he actually remembers the shows at the Glasgow Barrowlands as some of the best shows Pantera ever played. Also met Vinnie Paul. Bizarre circumstances of this. So Scott Ian's wife, Pearl, was doing a show, I think it was Webster Hall, New York, and Scott was playing guitar for her. So, I went along to see what it was all about. It was rock, soft rock. She's a good singer. Scott was doing his usual guitar. So we're standing watching this show, and someone bumps into me, and oh shit, it's Vinnie Paul. He was there. Bunch of other guys were there actually. There was Frankie Bello. Anyway, I'm going off on tangent here. Ironically, the only one I've not met in person is Philip H. Anselmo. Maybe one day, although I'm no longer a fanboy. But anyway, in wrapping this up, I just wanted to share this story of the first and only time my mind was officially blown by music. I'm praying it happens again. Very unlikely, but thought I would share. Hopefully you enjoyed this old man telling his old tales. And if you did, please like it, please subscribe. More stuff coming, and I will say thank you and good night.